Okay, it's right at 7:30. So once again, good evening, everyone. I know some folks on the call by name, some I don't. I also was made aware a couple days ago that there's folks from all over the state. I think that's wonderful. And I'll start by thanking everyone for giving up an hour, whatever the case should be, on a beautiful summer night. Bruce Cronauer is kind of at the controls tonight. Bruce, thank you.
Yes,
John
sir.
Hoadley and I put together a PowerPoint just by way of to make things sure. This is the first of two of these sessions. The second one, which will be in July, we're actually going to have some referees mic'd up giving an announcement strictly for a learning purpose, but we'll do that in July. Tonight is more of an introduction. I know a lot of people on here have been referees. My understanding is a few folks are thinking about transitioning to become a white hat also. But and just so we're clear, this all came about. Mark Petard asked me to do a session on this. I think John Hoadley, correct me if I'm wrong. This is the third or the fourth year we've done this in the summertime. I don't remember exactly, but it's either the third or fourth. Does that sound right, John?
Yeah, it does, Jim. I think it's
Okay.
the
All
third
right.
year
So,
right now.
okay. So, with that said, a couple of thoughts. If you have chat box things, please, by all means, put them in there. I'm going to ask you all to do that on occasion tonight. I wouldn't say everyone, but I'll say if maybe first five guys to put something in a chat box relative to a certain topic that we're going to talk about. But so you want to be a white hat, good for you. And so, with that said, so we put together a PowerPoint. And again, I'm trying to, as much as possible, it's difficult on Zoom, but we're going to try to have as much interaction, primarily through the chat box, as possible. So, let's see how it works out. Again, thank you for coming on. Please go, Bruce, to the
Yep.
PowerPoint that John and I collaborated on and put together.
Does everybody see it?
Yep, here we go. Yep, I
Okay.
think it's. I can see it clear. If you're having problems, please put it in the chat box. But it should say Part One: General thoughts on being a referee, aka white hat or the crew chief. So that's we're going to get through this tonight. This Part One, and then some of whatever else is left over. And again, on our second session, which I think is July 28th, if I'm not mistaken, we'll have actual announcements live during game announcements from referees. I think that might be a good way to do it as well. Um, Bruce, can you, the chat box question is, can you share a full screen uh, with the folks on?
Hang on a second. I thought I had a full screen up. I apologize. Hang on.
It might be. I'm not sure. Um,
That's as full as I got here, Jim. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the content is in the middle because the other portions will get to it. So if you would please take a minute. I developed something, and I've learned from a lot of other people. Very few of this is my own folks. I've learned from referees I've had the privilege of working for at different levels in my career. And I think, like anything else in life, learn something from every one of them. In some cases, what really works, what's a really good best practice, and probably in a few cases, to be frank, things that don't work too well, or maybe want to rethink it. So, with that said as a backdrop, I'd like each of you to take a little bit of time and just read over the Ten Commandments to yourself, and then I'll give you a minute to do that, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So what I'd like to do is start, and again, please feel free to use the chat box. The very first statement here, okay, referees, it's clear, should be clear that referees while we're are officials, but they're a little bit different in the sense that right or wrong, when things go well, referees tend to get the credit. When things don't go well, referees tend to be the focal point of folks' criticism, whether that's a coach, an AD, whomever the person is, um, even maybe in some cases an assigner. But so there's some commonalities that I've learned over the course of my career, and I understand many of you have refereed for a long time, and I understand you've done it very well as well. All right, but again, we have a kind of a mix here. Some folks that have been doing it a while, some relatively new referees, and also some people that are thinking about it. So we'll try to do this from a kind of a broad picture, paint with a broad brush. Uh, if you're a referee, in my view, the first thing you have to be is you have to be a leader. You have to be willing to maybe go the extra mile, email athletic directors the week of the game, email your crew the week of the game, send out the weekly tests that we've gotten the last couple of years from Mark Bitar. I think they usually come on Mondays. You just don't show up at the game. All officials should have that approach, but it's imperative that referees, I think, take that approach maybe to a little bit of a different level. Okay. Now, with that said, you have to be a leader. If we were speaking 30, 40 years ago, 25 years ago, there's probably some folks on this call that at one time the referee was truly a dictator. Uh, he did everything, and nobody ever questioned him. And if they did, if it was a coach, the referee might have told the coach, "Coach, I don't want to hear it right off the bat." All those things. I think the best word today that a referee is, in addition to a leader, is you're a facilitator. You're an administrator of an athletic contest. Okay, you have to be approachable with all the stakeholders involved: your crew members, your coaches, the players, ads, etc. I know a couple years ago I was leaving a game and walking out of the locker room, and as I'm walking out of the locker room on a Friday night, I saw the custodian coming in to kind of sweep the floor and stuff. And I just made it a point to stop and start chatting with the guy. People appreciate that. That's all, in my view, part of it. Whether you like it or not as a referee, you are the face of the crew. You're not the face of the NJSIA. You're not the face of the NJFOA, and you're not the face of Mark Bitar. But whoever your assigner is, you are the face of the crew. And I think that's a responsibility that comes with the territory of being a white hat. The second thing talks about preparation. In any endeavor in officiating, the more prepared officials are probably those that do the best. Preparation is important. This past year, kind of pieced my crew together for this coming year, this past spring, I should have said, and sent probably to this point 7, 8 emails or text messages. Schedule should be coming out soon. Please remember to pay your, NJ dues. Peter or Bruce, I'm not sure why that's happening, but it's just keep it on the first slide for now, if you could, Bruce, right
There you
there.
go.
Okay. So my point is, as a referee, it's your responsibility, it's my responsibility, it's our responsibility to keep your crew updated and informed. And I totally get a lot of officials might officiate basketball or in the springtime, baseball, softball, lacrosse, track and field, whatever it might be. But nonetheless, don't be a stranger as a referee. Keep in touch with your crew. How's it going? How you feeling? I know some folks have like a kind of a winter get together, maybe for the wives or whatever it is with referees. That's all good stuff. Um, but again, keep your people aware and informed. Meaning, as you all probably know, we have an upcoming our fifth annual statewide clinic on August 1st, and part of that is we have two different breakout sessions, which will be one just referees alone and one will be referees and umpires. But nonetheless, those are the kind of things. Um, we all know July 1 is, at least theoretically, the opening of the concussion testing date, and also the date that you can pay, at least I think in some chapters, your chapter dues. So all those things, the referee probably needs to take the lead in communicating that to his crew, and that's just kind of the way it's evolved, and that's how it should be. Okay. The third statement talks about accountability. This is, in my view, an absolute critical part of being a referee. When things go well, again, sometimes you'll leave a game, maybe even a losing coach, winning coach, athletic director. Hey, you guys are professional, appreciate it, whatever. Other times, maybe the game went south, or people think it went south, or people think that we didn't do a good job. But as a referee, the best referees, I can tell you this: the best referees, and it doesn't matter what level, high school, New Jersey high school, college, the NFL, the best referees are those that demand accountability from themselves and from their crew. And if we skirt that, and I understand, and we'll talk about this, everyone's different. But if we do not demand accountability from our crew, what we've really done is cheated the crew. And if you cheat the crew, you cheat the game. That's why this isn't for everyone. It does take, I think, a little bit of a different personality in many cases to be a referee. If anyone ever studied this, you'd probably find that referees are probably more type A than anything else. Okay. Bruce, are we okay on this? Bruce,
Yeah,
are we
Jim, we're
okay?
good. I'm trying to
All
make it
right. 'Cause
better
now,
for the people.
okay, that's fine. All right. So
All
we're
right.
still on part one on the left right now. Okay. The fourth concept, delegate whenever possible. People like to be involved. Please do not take the approach of 30 years ago where the referee truly did everything, including the pregame. Just last year, truth be told, I sat in at the request of an assigner. I sat in on a pregame, and I was astounded. Frankly, I was. This is in 2025. I was astounded. The referee read off like index cards from A to Z. Quite frankly, folks, I think we need to kind of re-examine that approach or rethink that approach. That's not the way to go anymore. You want to get your folks involved. So a good pregame conference, just for example, might cover onside kicks. So instead of the referee covering it, ask the side judge or the field, hey, let's talk about that. Okay, what are you looking for? Where are you positioned at? What can happen? Let's talk a little bit about the rules of it. Put the onus on that individual. That makes him or her better, and it makes the crew better. And if you go around and do that, it might take 20 minutes. Okay. And that, as the season goes on, I think that kind of becomes more and more the norm of a typical pregame. The beginning of the year, you might want to talk about new rules, which this year, as you probably know, are very, very few. Some mechanic changes. But as you go throughout the season, I think your pregames vary. But with that said, it's good to delegate, but make sure that whomever it is you delegate a topic to, make sure that they, in fact, are prepared to speak on whatever topic it is. Onside kicks, fake punch, 2 point extra points, whatever it could be. What if there was a fight in the sidelines? Thing. Empower your crew members by saying ahead of time, send them an email. This is your topic for this Friday night. You'd be amazed. I think most people like that. Folks want to be involved. They want to feel a part of something. And you've all been there where if the referee just reads from A to Z, as I call it, on an index card, you probably lose folks' attention. You probably aren't really, you're not preparing the crew for what's ahead on that particular Friday night, Saturday, whatever it would be. Okay. All right. Number five, create a template. I think each referee, it's okay to have their own. Now, in some cases, some supervisors, some assigners might want everybody covering the same thing, kind of in their own way. Whatever system is or is not in place is fine, but have a basic template. One of the things that bothered me is if a referee sent out a pregame email 4 days before the game, then you get to the game and then nothing is talked about. And you sit there and go, well, why was this even brought up? If we're not going to review it, why was it brought up? So, and I think it also brings people together. We all understand, and probably referees more than anyone else, we understand that you absolutely, positively need every person on your crew to contribute. It's certainly not a one man show. It's certainly not a two-man show. You need all six folks being on the same page, being aligned. And again, I think the best way to do that is to assign topics. I like to tell the folks you got 3 to 5 minutes to talk about, again, whatever topic it might be. If something happened the previous week, address it. Don't ignore it. I learned that from a guy that I had the privilege of working with named Brad Allen, who's in the NFL now for a long time. And I was on his crew for 4 years, and it's still probably the best crew I ever had the opportunity to work on. And Brad was almost maniacal. If something happened the previous week, and we'd look at video and he might send out a question or two, but if you weren't prepared to address something that had happened the week before, there was going to be hell to play. And I understand, I get it that this is high school and it's a different level. I'm not oblivious to that. But at the same time, the concept absolutely does matter. It does count. So, all right. Six, okay, trust. That's the biggest word on a crew. Can I trust you? Can you trust me? Can I trust our officials to be ready to go? Can I trust our officials to be in proper uniform? Can I trust them to make every effort to be punctual? Can they trust me to be prepared? Can they trust me to be a good leader and not a dictator? Okay, that's all part of the deal. And that's why, again, not to be redundant, it takes a special kind of person to do this well. In my opinion, to become a really good referee takes the most time in an official's development. That's just from my own personal experiences. I don't think you become a good referee your first or second year. I think you keep growing, enhancing, and so on and so forth. And let's face it, a lot of you on this call, a lot of our brethren, they do other sports. Great. Basketball, again, softball, baseball, lacrosse, whatever it is. But in no other sport does the role of an official, I mean, I know in basketball, a three-man crew, I know they call the one-person referee, I understand, but it's different. It's different. Okay. In no other sport that I know of does the head or lead official wear a different colored hat. I don't think that happens in any other. Obviously, I know it doesn't happen in basketball, nor does it happen in softball or baseball. But at any rate, this is the only sport that it does. And there's a reason for that. So, okay. uh, Number eight is something that I've struggled with for a very long time in my own career as a referee, and prior to that, as not a referee. And that is, you got to be loyal to your people, but you also, in my view, have to be demanding. And every one of us on this call is different, and that's, I think, how it's supposed to be. And everyone will approach this differently, and I think that's how it's supposed to be. But at the same time, sometimes as a referee, you've got to make a command decision that might not be popular, that might, frankly, piss some people off. It is what it is. But if there's an issue in a game, whatever it could be, and it's not addressed, please trust me, folks, it's going to fester and it's going to get bigger and bigger. You have to address it. Ignoring it, pretending that it did not happen, all those things are counterproductive and they're not going to work in the long term. You're going to have a fractured crew. And I don't have it written there, but I think we're all uh, capable of understanding this statement. Every official is different and every crew is different. And that's how it's supposed to be. But the standard that you're trying to create has to have very strong commonalities. Okay. Some referees are more vocal, more authoritative. That's okay. Some guys are a little bit more laid back. That's okay. Ultimately, you have to be yourself like anything else in life. Okay. No two referees are the same, but I think they probably have more common qualities than maybe any other position. But you have to be loyal to your guys and girls. I get it if there's any females here, but you also have to be, in my view, demanding. If someone isn't holding up their end of the bargain, call them up midweek. Hey, Bill. Hey, John, whatever. Okay, let's talk about it. Is everything all right? You got something going on at home or your job, whatever. That's all part of being a really good referee. Reach out to people, go the extra mile. Okay, because ultimately, we're going to sink or swim together. There's no other way about it. We're going to sink or swim together. Okay. Being a referee is not for every official. A lot of people have officiated for a long time. They don't want to be a referee. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. Other people in the beginning of their career might think, I want to try this. Again, I know there's people on this call because a guy sent me an email with that saying there's I don't know how many it was, but guys that are looking to become referees or at least interested. Good for you. Good for you. Okay. So it might be for you. Only you know that. If you want to become a referee, maybe this August you have a scrimmage or two. Take some snaps as a referee, not just positioning, but just like penalties, whatever the case would be. Get your feet wet. Don't go into it cold. Okay? Think about it. Every one of you on this call at some point was a cadet. I don't know any cadet training that is specifically for referees. You become an official first and then potentially a referee. Again, it's unlike anything else. And finally, number 10, we started this in the next slide, I'll allude to it. Back in 2023, we somebody, I don't remember who it was, it might have been Dave Race, I don't remember, but looked in the National Federation manual. And in 2023, we noticed that it said may, the referee may make announcements using player numbers. I think everyone had assumed prior to that it wasn't permitted in high school. That is not true at all. And if you look at our 6-man NJFOA manual that gets published every other year in the editions every year, it clearly says referees should make announcements. Now, if you read that there, okay, most stadiums still to this point in New Jersey do not have a microphone. But more and more, slowly but surely, that number is increasing. I had a game last year where I didn't even know about this until maybe 10 minutes before kickoff. A guy came up to me and said, "Hey, we'd like you to wear this mic tonight." I said, "Great." In my opinion, it's the greatest tool that's ever been created for football officiating. It's the greatest way to communicate. But with that said, and we'll do a thing later on here tonight, if you're going to use the mic, there's certain things you got to do. And the first is practice. You got to practice at home in front of a mirror, giving signals and giving announcements. Holding, number 78, offense, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down. That has to become part and parcel to who you are and how you are. Because if you don't do that, you're going to get in the game. And if you haven't kind of rehearsed it and you haven't practiced it well, it's not going to go well. And the great thing about the microphone is it's the greatest tool we have. The bad thing about it is if we mess up on the microphone, the entire credibility of the crew is instantly shot. It's gone. And I don't know that everybody realizes that or maybe is as cognizant as we need to be. The mic can work in your favor, and unfortunately, it can also work against you. So announcements are absolutely critical. Practice them. Practice giving signals. Fixate your eyes at the bottom of the press box, whatever stadium you're at. Don't be moving. We'll talk about that on some of these slides here tonight. Okay. So this is kind of a general backdrop. Any chat box thoughts, questions at this time? I have, okay, Scott, I would only add referees act, all arbiters, player safety, integrity. Uh, yeah, I think that's well stated, Scott, and it has to be that way. And we referees have to know the rules, but please, please, white hats, please do not think that you're the only person. And I'm glad you put that out there, Scott. Please do not think that you're the only official that has to know the rules. Incorrect. And every referee should take a member of his crew before the year. Maybe you worked with the guy a lot, maybe you have a history, and say, "Hey, you're my go-to rules guy if we get stuck." Whether it's the field judge, side judge, like whoever it is, doesn't matter. Every referee should have like a fail-safe person that they're going to rely on. Can't tell you how incredibly, because we're all going to have brain fog or some type of brain fart at some point. It just simply happens. And if you have a go-to person who can save the crew, man, that does wonders for the crew, for you, and so on and so forth. So I see a few people writing things down. If you're taking notes, have a go-to, have a fail-safe guy who's really good on the rules. Okay, that's critical. Okay. Any other chat box? I don't see any other ones, or am I missing any here? I don't think so.
That was the
Okay.
last one, I think, Jim.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Bruce.
Hey,
Okay.
Jim, give me a second. I'm going to stop sharing and then reshare real quick. All right.
Sure. You go to the next slide, whatever. That's fine. Yep. Yep.
Good faith mistake.
So,
I won't worry about it. U.S. Attorney called to ask there's a civil rights prosecution here. As far as we can tell, this wasn't a bias crime. Victim was one of their own. What's the matter? They run out of people to hate.
slide 2, Bruce, if you can.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
That would look like
So-
a valid idea. They gave us ages 18.
I'm not sure who that is there on the news or whatever it is.
I'll get it. I'll take care of it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay. So part 2, the art of announcements. And notice the word art of announcements. These general thoughts, I've compiled these from Jerry Markbright, Brad Allen, a guy named Bill Lamagna, who some of you might be familiar with. He used to be in the Big Ten, and a little bit myself over the years. So the art of announcements, it is an art. First of all, again, like I said earlier, starting in 2023, we introduced the idea of making announcements on every foul, whether they messed up. This is a great thing to do, referees. This keeps the game in a tempo and in a rhythm. It also keeps everybody, players, coaches, everybody begins to expect it. Okay? So even if it's a simple false start, before the snap, false start, 77, 5-yard penalty, replay, third down, whatever the actual foul is. Okay? As I said earlier, more and more schools, slowly but surely, are beginning to use microphones inside of the stadium. Believe it or not, it's not all that expensive. I think somebody told me it's around $300 for a decent system. And I don't know if ADs generally don't like it. I do know some schools have it, but again, it's certainly on the minority. The fewer schools have it, but that number is slowly increasing. Okay, as I said earlier, without question, the mic or without the mic is the single best way to communicate. Anytime there's a foul, the referee should make an announcement. And we'll talk about how to make announcements, not just the art of announcements, where you want to be, so on. So, Bruce, can you go to the next slide? Okay. Now, sometimes, and you see some headings there. Please read through those. Just look through those if you would, where it says practicing your announcements. Take a minute, please. These are practical thoughts, ideas, concepts when making announcements. And again, if you're doing a freshman game on a Monday afternoon and there's 100 people in the stands and only people are videotaping, parents or whatever, make announcements on fouls. Get into the habit of doing it. It will absolutely enhance your career when you get to that one game a year or two, whatever, where you're going to have a microphone. All right. Be original. Okay. Be yourself. All right. Don't get cute. And you see here, and this gentleman passed away a couple years ago in the top picture, Ben Dreith. If you would ever Google him, and I couldn't get the video or the audio, but Ben Dreith was infamous, I think in the late 90s. He was doing an NFL game, and he said he was giving him the business. And that statement, a lot of people liked it. They thought it was funny. And at the bottom is a dear friend of mine, Ron Cherry, from outside of Atlanta. He was in the ACC for a long time, did a lot of games with him. He did the same thing, personal foul, 69 offense. He was giving him the business. Now, everybody thought it was good until, in both cases, the supervisors got involved and said, you can't do that. Okay? It's okay to be yourself, but don't be making stuff up like that. Okay? It's just the way it is. Kind of what we sign up for. I think there's a combination there's a balance between being yourself and kind of following along with the program. So, with that said, getting their attention, taping the mic or fake mic helps to get the crowd's attention. Speak over crowd noise, don't yell. A couple years ago, I live in Pennsylvania, and a couple years ago, well, they do it still this year. Every fall on Tuesday nights, they have like replays of high school games from the prior Friday night. And depending on what I got going, I might turn it on. And most of the schools in Pennsylvania have microphones in high school, almost all of them do. At any rate, I turn on the mic or I turn on the TV, and there's a guy screaming, "False start!" No. I mean, it was unbelievable, awful, awful sounding. And I thought to myself right away, the crew is done. The credibility is at any, they're shot right there. And I remember it was so bad, it was unnerving. And at one point during this game, the announcers even said, "We wonder why the referee is screaming." Think about that. We wonder why the referee is screaming. Again, just totally unnecessary. Just calm voice, false start, eight, whatever, be yourself, but please don't scream, don't yell. That takes away from the credibility of the crew. And none of us want that. Okay? Get the crew involved. If you have a mic, make sure the other people listen to it. How many times in our careers have we enforced a penalty incorrectly? And maybe if someone would have heard the announcement, they'd have stepped up. Or maybe if they were paying attention, they'd have stepped up and said, "Hey, we're going from the wrong spot. We're enforcing this from the wrong hash mark," whatever the scenario would be. Okay. When you use the mic, again, this is in the Federation manual. It is perfectly okay to announce the player's number. Number 18, illegal block in the back during whatever, again, whatever it is. Okay. Now, I think in New Jersey a few years ago, I think a best practice thing went out that said if a player has been disqualified for a UNS, don't say his number out loud, but you got to go to the coach, you got to write it down on your card and all that kind of stuff. We're not trying to embarrass anyone, but we are trying to communicate. Absolutely. And again, there's no better way to do that through referees making announcements with or without a microphone. Okay? When you make an announcement, try to keep it short and concise, but tell people what's going on. Again, and you'll see it later. So I'll go on to the next one. Go ahead, Bruce. All right. There's Jerry Markbright, who I think at one point was voted either the most famous football official in the world or the most recognized or something like that. A lot of the ideas of referee microphone use have come from Jerry Markbright in his lengthy and legendary NFL career. And I've had the opportunity to meet Jerry Markbright about 15 years ago. We actually brought him to a clinic here in Pennsylvania in the springtime, and he's just a tremendous speaker. He just turned 90 in May, so he's up in years, and he's not nearly as involved as he was at one point. But Jerry Markbright, if there was ever a poster child for a referee, it's probably Jerry Markbright. Now, let's look at some of the bullet points here, and I stole this directly from him. Okay? Don't turn to signal first down. For example, personal foul, roughing the passer, number 71, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. What he is saying there is don't turn to signal first down as you're making the announcement. Take your time, wait until the entire announcement is made. You're in no hurry. You're in no rush. It looks better. It's a better optic. It looks cleaner. And it's just, you gain credibility without knowing it. And that's something that I've learned over the years. Every official, regardless of his position, but more so referees, we gain or lose credibility regardless of the position we have by how we move, how we signal, all the things that sometimes we probably take for granted or don't realize. All right, so Jerry Markbright, okay, don't turn to signal first down until you're done making the announcement. Okay, do say the words down and penalty. Okay, holding, 10-yard penalty, we'll replay it second down. Okay? Don't say on the defense or on the offense or on Piscataway or against someone. All right, they don't like that verbiage. Keep it short, concise, and simple. Okay, the whole goal is to improve communication. Okay, describe the foul if you're sure. Okay, don't say pass interference defense and then have it's a half the distance. That should all be one announcement whenever possible. One announcement. Pickups. This is a great thing. This is great to do. There is no foul for ineligible downfield. The pass was caught behind the line of scrimmage. There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The pass was caught behind the line of scrimmage. There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The quarterback was beyond the neutral zone when he threw the ball. We just have an illegal forward pass, that kind of thing. So if you practice these things, when they come up, it'll be like brushing your teeth. You'll have done it. You'll have kind of, I don't want to say mastered it, but you'll be real familiar with it. Okay? Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, remains third down or still third down. So those terms, down and penalty, should be a part of every announcement, whether it's live ball or dead ball. And if it's a dead ball penalty, like a late hit out of bounds, by all means, you want to use the words after the play. After the play, just like prior to the snap. Now, if you look at the manual, what we've kind of evolved to, and I'll try to show this if I have my video on here. If you have a false start, just make the announcement and give the signal. There's no reason to do this and then this, because invariably we throw boom, 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 like it's too fast. It's too fast. Just simply make the announcement prior to the snap, false start, 62, 5-yard penalty, second down, whatever. Conversely, if we have a dead ball late hit out of bounds, if runner's going up the sideline, he gets hit out of bounds late, then hand over head. After the play, personal foul, number 20, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, results in a first down, and then turn a signal. We could talk forever even about stuff like when you give a first down signal after a penalty. Should you just do it like this, or should you turn and face the defense? My personal opinion is it's up to each of you. I've seen it done both ways. I have a way I like it, but I like how some guys just kind of go like that. So just like when you signal, do you use a palm, an open palm? Some people do that. Some people have like a thumb, like a closed thumb here. I don't know if you can see it. Okay. I like 2 fingers. Okay. That's how I do it. But again, find what you like and do it that way all the time. Find what you like and do it that way all the time. Be yourself. Chat box, anyone? I see. Okay, somebody's commenting on Barry Mano, the former referee editor who passed away maybe 2 months ago. Okay. All right, Bruce. Okay. We just talked about dead ball signal. Okay, and you see a video here. Okay, after the play, personal foul, whatever the player's number is. Okay, and it doesn't stay long enough here to see how the referee signals first down, but he's not going to turn until his announcement is completed. If you practice this, trust me, guys, girls, if you practice this a couple times, I guarantee you it will become like second nature to you. Just do it at home in front of a mirror. Try to fixate your eyes on a hypothetical bottom of a press box. That's where your eyes should be fixated at. Keep your feet still. Don't be moving. Okay? And don't be dramatic when you point. Just calm, easy going. Okay? If you just called a roughing a passer and the kid really drilled the quarterback, whatever, don't make it personal to the kid. Don't do that. Whoever iPad 3 is exactly right. Okay? All right. Slow talking. Absolutely. Don't rush. Don't scream. Don't yell. Just speak like you're talking to someone in your family. Hey, honey, how was your day? Or, what time did you get home from work? Whatever. That's all it is. All you're trying to do, what you should never lose track of, is communicate. That's the whole idea of the referee using a microphone or not using a microphone, but giving announcements. Okay? Start the announcement with after a play or dead ball. There it is right there, literally word for word, the verbiage that Jerry Markwright would be. And while we're at it, and you can't see it here, on the next we meet again, I'm gonna have some actual live referee announcements for you. But one of the things that I've noticed time and time again, too many referees take too long to find an open spot and make the announcement. It seems like they're walking around aimlessly on the field. All we want you to do is find an open area. What's an open area? I don't know. Anywhere where there's not players. Could be a 8-yard thing. I don't know. But find an open area, get still, fixate on the bottom of the press box, and begin with your announcement. Please do not take 55 seconds for a false start foul. It's too long. One of the things that the best referees do, one of the things the best referees understand, one of the things best referees do consistently is they understand the tempo and the rhythm of the game is our responsibility and first and foremost that of the referee. Keep the game moving. Notice I didn't say speed the game up. Notice I didn't say hurry the game up. However, you absolutely have to be efficient. That's the best word I can think of in penalty administration. Frankly, far too many referees take too long for simple dead ball enforcements. It can't be that hard. And if you get a false start, your linesman throws it, pops the whistle, flag in the air, it's on the 0-2-0, comes into you and says, I got 52 early, 50, whatever. Okay, just take 2 steps. You're already behind everybody. Take 2 steps, face the press box, bottom. Okay, prior to snap, false start, number 52, 5-yard penalty, replay second down. That's how quick it should be, or that's how efficient it should be. When you do that, it keeps the game in rhythm, and we have the 40-25 play clock. Everybody understands that. That rule almost forces referees. I use the term get in and out of penalties. Get in and get out of penalties. And whether you've done it a long time or you're kind of starting out or considering it, think about that. Get in and out of penalties. Don't take 55 seconds for a simple dead ball false start. It's way too long. Players now start arguing, griping each other. That's when the game tends to get out of control. You're not the star of the show, but everybody's going to look at you anyway. Why? Because you're wearing a white hat. That's why. You don't have to, nobody has to know. Everybody looks at you anyways. On a pass interference call, 40 yards downfield, everybody looks at you when you make the announcement or the signal. They don't look at the field judge or the side judge or wherever throw it. They look at you. So you are the focal point that comes into territory. But get in and out of penalties. You got a 40-yard pass downfield, and the field judge gets on the 0-2-0 and says, I got defensive pass interference number 18. My next question would be incomplete or complete. Is no, the ball hit the ground. Great. Pass interference, defense, number 18, 15-yard penalty. Like that. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. But don't take forever. It ruins the flow of the game. And if you were to, and maybe some of you have, but if you were to analyze the length of a football game, and I only did this because at one point, and I'm not, don't understand, in college you have to do that. Every game must be recorded at every level, start time, end time, every game. I would suggest as a referee you do that with your own games. If the game's supposed to start at 7 o'clock, then we start at 7, was it 7:02? And then at the end of it, we're 7 o'clock till 9:19. Okay, we know that's a 2-hour, 19-minute game. If you just keep like a little diary or something, how long each game was. You'd be amazed if you're efficient with your penalty enforcement. You would be amazed how you shave off 4, 5, 7 minutes of a game. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not cheating anyone. You're keeping the game moving. You're keeping it in rhythm. You're keeping it in tempo. And that's efficiently done through penalty enforcement. Okay, Bruce, next slide. All right. This is a pet peeve of mine. I love this slide here. Every referee should make believe, pretend for a minute that you're up in the press box. And the clock operator and everybody else wants to see when you make the ball ready for play. Now, look at this official here. His hand is up high, and he's going to chop all the way down. That is the proper way to do it. One of the things that if you go to a game and you're really kind of focused on watching a referee, one of the things that looks really poor, it's a very bad optic, is when, let's say we had a penalty and the pass was incomplete, so we're going to go on the snap. For whatever reason, I've seen referees, they kind of punch the ball, like bang. Like, I mean, it's a terrible optic. So again, please try, get up high and come down. And if you were in the press box, how the referee here is in this still slide on the left, it's 1,000% better than punching at the ball. Start high, come down. I don't care if you're 6'2", I don't care if you're 5'7", all right, or whatever it is. Start high and come down. Come straight down. Okay? And now this here, all right, we're going to probably start the clock on a snap here. Maybe it's incomplete, whatever. Another pet peeve to think about, okay, if you have a first down and now you're going to make whatever reason that there was a penalty and it's still going to be a first down, or you're going to start the clock, please do not make this two different signals. Please do not go here and then wind. Just make it one signal. You're up here, boom. Okay? You're making the ball ready for play and winding with the same signal. Please teach yourself that. If you maybe, for all I know, everybody here already does that. But if you don't, please think about that. You want one signal when you're going to start the game clock after a penalty that ended in bounds, or whatever the scenario is. Okay, that's the best way to do it. It looks much smoother. It's not choppy, no pun intended. It's just a much smoother and a better optic. Okay, and that's what I have in the third bullet there. Don't chop and then wind. Just be up high, blow the whistle, and wind it. Get it rolling. Okay. Ben Henderson, proper terminology. Of course, that's critical. That's correct. Offside, or some guys say plurally, does not exist in Federation rules. Okay. We're the only code that doesn't have the term offside. Okay. We have encroachment. We have false start. We have illegal motion. Of course, that'd be a live ball foul. But Ben, thank you for pointing that out. Okay. And I love what you said at the end there for elevating our credibility. At the end of the day, you know what we are? We're all a bunch of actors. We're all a bunch of painters trying to paint a Picasso. That's what we're doing. If you take the job seriously, that's really what officiating is. You're facilitating a competitive athletic environment. That's your job. And that's why it's not for a lot of people. And in particular, that's why being a referee is not for a lot of people. If I asked everybody here under oath, are some referees better than others? And I asked you to put it in the chat box. Of course, the answer is yes. If I walked outside from my house right now and found a neighbor up the street and said, let's run a 50-yard dash, well, he's going to win or I'm going to win. That's how it is. Somebody's going to win the race. So, but that's not important. What is important is that everybody is themselves and tries to elevate their own game by getting better. I mean, I'm going to make the assumption. I said this last night. We had a off-season training call, a Zoom call. I'm going to make the assumption that everyone here wants to be good at being a white hat. I'm going to make that assumption. Otherwise, you wouldn't give up a beautiful summer night. And good for you. Okay? But this isn't for everybody. So these little things make a big difference. Please trust me when I tell you that. Okay, Bruce, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Next slide, Bruce. All right, now here we see a timeout. Okay. Now the guy's going to keep saying, but when you give a timeout signal, okay, you give a timeout signal, okay. All right. Notice he's still, he's not moving. His feet aren't moving. All right. Now this is going to repeat itself. You know, give 2 wipes like this. Okay. And that's enough. Okay. Timeout, you know, Bridgewater, whatever the team is. I like personally during a timeout, I just use one hand then to point the direction of the team calling a timeout. Some folks like to turn, okay, use 2 hands. That's fine. Do what you feel comfortable doing, but communicate what's going on. It's a team timeout, just like if somebody's injured. Give this and then tap your shoulders. That's an official timeout. We know that's the signal for it. Do it correctly so everybody thinks, hey, these guys know what they're doing. You'd be amazed, like I keep saying, how important signals are. You'd be amazed. Okay? Sometimes we have issues with the scoreboard. We have to adjust the clock. Who knows whatever the case would be. These guys call this administrative announcements. We're not talking about penalties here. Okay? Something that's, you know, again, the team has 1 timeout left and it's showing 2. If we see that, we should correct that. Everyone in the place should know that. Okay? If we need to make an adjustment on the game clock, maybe the clock operator started on a false start and didn't stop it for 8 or 9 seconds, whatever the case could be. We need to fix it. We need to announce it. So again, there's administrative announcements as well as penalty announcements. Okay, Bruce. Okay, discussions of announcements. Okay, evaluate these announcements. Discuss best practices. Ultimately, this all is transcended by what is best for a football game. And again, I fully understand everybody on here is a little bit different. In my opinion, that's how it's supposed to be. At the same time, there's commonalities that all referees should follow. Simple thing, I don't have it on here, but the coin toss. Okay? You flip the coin, the visiting captain calls heads. You flip it in the air, okay, you let it hit the ground. Captain, it's heads. What is your first or second half, however you want to ask the kid? Okay, that's my first question. First or second half option. If he says we're going to defer, right there and now I'm going to get out, say defer. Now I go to the other guy. You want to receive it. Okay. My point is this: when all that is done, the coin toss is done. You're out there with the umpire. Okay, it's 3 minutes before kickoff. It's 6:57 on the first Friday of the year. You've gone through your pregame. You've gone through walking the field. Here we are. We're ready to rock and roll. You do the coin toss. As a referee, absolutely, positively, unequivocally demand that your crew jogs to their kickoff positions. I learned that the hard way a number of years ago. And it was, I still remember it vividly. It was at least 10, 12 years ago. I was actually officiating an arena football game in Wisconsin. And I was not the referee. 6-man crew, just like we have in New Jersey. Same number of officials, much smaller field. The referee flipped the coin. We all just kind of walked to our positions. Did the game, got done with it all, come in, the supervisor's there. He said, apparently none of you guys wanted to officiate tonight. Excuse me? Every one of you walked to your position after the coin toss. He said, that is a horrible thing to do. Never really thought about it. I've never done it since. So you don't have to sprint down the field to the goal line as a referee we're going to line up at or any other position, but you got a job. You're telling people non-verbally, we are ready, we are prepared to work the game. If you walk to your position, you're telling everyone, I don't give a shit. That's what you're telling people non-verbally. So it absolutely matters. So jog. Don't sprint. Jog to your position. Try to look athletic. Okay? All right, here we go. Ready to rock and roll. The same exact concept is applicable after a penalty. Field judge has an illegal block in the back on a sweep. He comes into you on the 0-2-0. As he goes back to his position, okay, he should jog back to pick up his flag. He doesn't have to sprint, but he should not be walking. We, as a referee, you make your announcement. Illegal block in the back, 82, offense. 10-yard penalty, spot of the foul, replay second down. When you go to make the ball ready for play, don't walk to that spot. Just jog there. Just jog there. Now, boom, punch it in, and we go. If you walk there, number one, it takes too much time. And number two, it shows, it displays, right or wrong, we create the illusion that we're lazy. I think tonight I've used the word optics 3, 4, 5 times. The optics of officiating a football game are unlike any other sport. How does the crew look? How do they move? Do they look like they're together, much like a team functioning together? And I don't know that we emphasize that or talk enough about that, but optics are absolutely critical. So be aware of that as a referee and talk about things like this to your crews. Okay? You'd be amazed. Your crew, everybody wants to do well. Everyone wants the game to go smoothly. And that's really your biggest job, is to facilitate that happening. Are there going to be bumps in the road? Of course there are. Are there going to be coaches who sometimes are out of control? Of course they are. You're on the sideline, the guy's yelling at you. Don't stop the game to go over and talk to him, but do give him a stop sign. Coach, I heard you. That's enough. The stop sign, give it to him. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. You're approachable. You've heard him, but you're saying, "I've heard enough." Hopefully, the guy will get the idea, and then that'll be the end of it. But all of this is capable. Everybody on this call is capable of thinking about trying to incorporate some of these ideas into their game as a referee. Every single one of you. If I could do it, you can do it. Trust me. Trust me. Do you have to work at it? Well, it's like anything else. You want to be good at it, you got to work at it. It's not going to happen by luck. How many of you on the call, and again, I'm not going to, put you on the, but how many of you on the call watch referees on TV? Most of them are pretty good. Most of them are really good on the microphone. That's why it's critical. Nobody just said, "Hey, go out there and start talking on the microphone." I mean, Jerry Markbright does an entire presentation on use of the microphone, and I'll show you some of that in our next session on July the 28th. In addition to actual live announcements of a referee making announcements, so we'll kind of get it to critique it and stuff like that. But that's what you really have to do. So as we kind of wrap this up tonight, Bruce, are we through with the PowerPoint?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, so
There's a chat thing from Steve Peloso if you want to read it.
yeah, okay. Basic, tell my crew members. Okay, and everybody can read that. What I'd like everyone to do is just take a minute, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, if you would, put in the chat box anything you picked up tonight, will try to do tonight, or try to use after tonight, anything at all that maybe that sounded interesting or something along those lines. If you would please take 30 seconds, 45 seconds. As I look at this, I don't want to be remiss, but first of all, once again, thanks to each and every one of you, regardless of where in the state you are from. Thank you for getting on. Mark Batar, I don't know if you're on, but thank you for kind of encouraging us to do this. John Hovey, uh, John, I apologize. I didn't give you a whole lot of airtime, but thanks for collaborating on the PowerPoint and your thoughts and us putting it together. I'm looking at some of these chat box. Optics do matter. Practice your announcements, okay? Lock your elbows. I think Dave Parfit, you've probably heard me say that exactly right. Okay, that's a more authoritative signal than just kind of like alligator arm the signal. Okay, Robert Riderelli. So, again, you all gave up 60 minutes on a beautiful summer night. I appreciate that more than you know. I certainly hope that on August 1st, we'll be able to touch base again in person. I say this all the time, but as I've gotten more and more kind of ingrained with the NJFOA, if I don't know you when you come to the clinic, please come up, introduce yourself, say, "Hey, I very much like meeting people." And I guess ultimately, thank you for caring about the great game of football and trying to do our part to elevate it as a game. It's a great sport. We all know that. But nonetheless, it's thank you for your efforts in trying to learn and someday pay it forward, because we're all going to do that at some point in our life and in our career. Um, so again, I know a lot of the names here. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of the summer, and we'll see hopefully many, many of you on August 1st, if not before somehow. So thank you again, everyone. Thanks for your comments. Um, if you want this, yeah, this is Bruce. This will be recorded, okay? And
Yeah.
if any, Bruce, you want to
Go ahead,
speak to
Jim.
that
I'm
a
sorry.
minute?
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, you're recording this, right? So it
Yes, sir.
okay. And if anybody wants the actual PowerPoint that I had, and then in July things, just send me an email and I'll just send it to you. So
Well, Jim, I was gonna say that I sent a couple out to Richie Collins. Check your email.
okay,
So whoever sent me an email just recently, I think there was three people. It went out to them.
Okay. Thanks for doing that, Bruce. And again, if anybody can't get a hold of it, just email me and I'll ship it right to you. So, okay. It's right at 8:30, folks. Thank you for the 60 minutes. Appreciate it. Stay well, everyone. Good night.